Hello, my name is John, and today I want to talk about Japan. Although Japan is usually associated with sushi, ninjas, and anime girls, this country is actually full of many interesting ideas and amazing inventions, and I think it would be fun to talk about the many different aspects of this Asian landmass. The first topic I want to talk about today is origami. Now, origami is the art of paper folding, where you use paper to create intricate designs or models. Paper was first introduced from the Asian continent, and when it reached Japan, it was adapted to become thinner and more durable. This paper was called washi. However, because paper was expensive, it was only used for ceremonies such as wedding. The first written origami instructions were written in 1797 from Akisara Rito's Sembazuru Orikata, or 1,000 crane folding, where one would fold 1,000 cranes in order to obtain good luck. Now, one of the most notable origami artists in Japanese history goes by the name Akira Yoshizawa. However, he was dubbed the Grandmaster of Origami due to his immense contributions to the art of origami. When Yoshizawa was in his 20s, he used origami to teach employees in his factory geometry concepts for the job. He wrote the book New Origami Art, which introduced symbols and notations used for folding origami today. He also introduced wet folding, which is a technique where you would spray water on paper to make folds better and more defined, and you could use it to create more detailed origami. Akira Yoshizawa often gave away his origami as gifts, and most of his origami can be found in exhibitions around the world. Origami has found its way into many different technological designs in the modern world. NASA has actually prototyped a solar panel that will sit in outer space that is based on the mural fold. The mural fold is a fold that transforms a piece of paper to become smaller. It creates a paper with many different creases, making it very flexible. Although the solar panel itself is not flexible, it is able to produce up to 250 kilowatts of power, compared to the current solar panels, which produce around 84 to 120 kilowatts. Scientists from Harvard and MIT have designed an artificial muscle based off of designs from origami that can lift objects up to 1,000 times its size. These artificial muscles can be used in space, where your muscles can shrink, and deep-sea exploration, as well as for miniature surgical devices or wearable exoskeletons. Caterina Monsivino, a PhD student at MIT, has created a design of tube that will help in chemotherapy that is more effective than the current tube. This design is based off the same mural fold design that NASA used for their solar panel. The next topic I want to talk about is Ikebana. Ikebana is the art of flower arrangement and was first introduced by Chinese Buddhist missionaries that suggested offering flowers to the Buddha by placing flowers on their altar. Ikebana has developed over time. It was originally just placing flowers in a vase with not much thought put into it, but then it became more complicated. This basic style of Ikebana turned into a more complicated system of Shin Ohana, or central flower arrangement. This was a style where a piece of pine or cryptomeria was placed in the middle of a vase with 3 to 5 flowers surrounding it. The first school of Ikebana, Ikenobo, was founded in the early 7th century by Ono no Imoko to teach flower arrangement. One famous Ikebana artist is Sofu Teshigahara, and he learned Ikebana from his father. He held many exhibitions and demonstrations in Europe and the US between the years of 1950 and 1970. He believed Ikebana was a form of art and expressed the third dimension as well as asymmetrical balance. He believed that Ikebana should be available to the whole world and not just Japan. In the modern world, Ikebana has developed a new kind of style called the Moribana style. This Moribana style was introduced from the Ohara school, and it imitates a natural landscape in a disc. There are two kinds of styles, a straight upright style and a slanting style. The straight upright style shows a feeling of balance and gravity, while the slanting style gives a softer impression than the upright style. The next topic I want to talk about is Japan's politics. Japan has a history of using the feudal system, where people would be ranked in different classes based on their occupation. The emperor, shogun, samurai, daimyo, and ronin sat on top, and this made up 10% of the population. The other 90% were made out of peasants, artisans, and merchants. This population contained farmers, fishermen, craftspeople, and salespeople. Compared to other cultures, the warriors were valued higher than the peasants. This was due to their extreme loyalty. It was to the point where warriors that showed cowardice or disgrace would commit suicide by seppuku, or ritual disembowelment, to show their loyalty. The roles of the shogun, daimyo, and samurai have both hurt and benefited Japan in different ways. On one hand, these roles created a web of security. The samurai would protect the daimyo and the people in the daimyo's land, and in return, the samurai would get paid in land or money for their loyalty. However, on the other hand, these roles have also torn apart Japan. In the early 1100s, many families fought over lands using their armies. Amongst the richest families, the Taira and the Minamoto family went to war, and the Minamoto family came out on top. Minamoto Yoritomo, the head of this family, earned the title of shogun from the emperor. However, due to his newfound power, he created his own government and made the emperor a figurehead. The emperor obviously tried to rebel and gain his power back, but in doing so, he caused Japan to split into many different smaller territories. This, in turn, started feudalism in Japan. The fourth topic I want to talk about is Japan's religion, specifically Shinto. Shinto is a religion that believes in kami, a life force in many naturalistic objects. Shrines are built for kami to live, and they show the power and nature of kami. Shrines do not have to be man-made shrines, but can be any place significant to Shintoism, such as a rock or a tree. There are many different Shinto shrines in Japan. One of the most notable shrines in Japan is the Usachingu. This shrine enshrines the kami of Emperor Ojin, who is dubbed the god of warriors. Enshrining something means to preserve something in a form that will be protected and respected. The Usachingu was also one of the earliest shrines to enshrine Emperor Ojin. Another notable shrine in Japan is the Hokkaido Shrine, which enshrines 4 different kami, including the soul of Emperor Meiji. On May 5th, 1871, the modern shrine system was created. All the shrines in Japan were split into 2 different categories, imperial shrines and national shrines. These shrines were ranked by having a minor, medium, or major rank, depending on what level of priest could officiate at which shrine. The last topic I want to talk about is Japan's geography. Japan is home to 109 different volcanoes, and most of Japan was created by volcanic material. Due to Japan having so many volcanoes, they are an important part of Japan. Much of their folklore and main interests are from volcanoes. One of the most notable volcanoes in Japan is Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is a stratovolcano in Honshu, the biggest island in Japan, and there is a lot of folklore surrounding it. Goddess Senjin, or Goddess of Fuji, is rumored to be at the top of Mount Fuji, and Mount Fuji is the home to her. There is also a famous piece of folklore surrounding the creation of Mount Fuji. The story begins with a man sitting in his house when he suddenly heard an earthquake underneath his house. He took his wife and his kids outside to avoid the earthquake, but then he saw a mountain rise up from the ground that he never saw. This mountain that he saw was Mount Fuji. Obviously, there's no way this would ever happen, but it's a nice story that represents Japanese culture. One of the most modern and heartbreaking occurrences of a volcanic eruption in Japan was the Mount Antaki eruption. No one had expected Mount Antaki to erupt on September 27, 2014, as everything was going absolutely fine, and Mount Antaki wasn't even supposed to be a dangerous trail. In fact, this volcano was supposed to be an easy trail, aimed for beginner hikers. However, disaster struck and Mount Antaki erupted at 5, and this eruption, according to reports, killed 57 people and lost 6 people.